just the woodland wandering. We've done puddle splashing, rather vast puddle splashing, which has been a really lovely experience and quite memorable for the children because they're still remembering it now. When we first introduced 50 Things, it was, we did an invite to the parents explaining what the project was about and how they could access it and to support them if they needed support, and showed them the app. And we've continued that with new parents. We introduced them to 50 Things and show them the posters and the little bag that we've got, a little teddy bear that goes home too, and the cards. If they don't want to use the app, they can still take part if they haven't got access to phones, so everybody can take part. And we also still put it in our newsletter.
At the release of the Early Years Inspection Framework, it was really interesting to look at the interpretation of cultural capital, and we looked at how the 50 Things would fit in with us planning that. So we decided to use the 50 Things sheet and to put that into the next step packs for families. And what we did with that is we asked the families to tick off on the sheets what they had already done with their children, and we showed them how to install the app onto their phones, etc. And then when we received the next step pack back for them, some parents had ticked loads of these, some had ticked very few of these, and it gave us a really good starting point to see what experiences the children have not achieved as such. And then we made a commitment to our families through our ethos that we would complete the 50 Things before their children started school, but that would be a collaboration between nursery and parents.
I think our favourite activity was probably the stargazing. So we went out in the evening and looked up and looked at the stars, and it expanded Jess's knowledge of space as well, which was really nice. We were really happy that we didn't have to pay for it, so it was all free and we could just use the app or the cards. The cards were great because on the back of it they gave us some ideas of how we could actually go about the activity.
And have you found that you've done different things you wouldn't have done before?
Yeah, sometimes we've been stuck for things to do at the weekend, so we've had a look at the cards and we thought, yep, we'll do that. So we've managed to do something for the day.
So then we used the packs and things. They went home with parents, the green bag, and they would use these and the app to do things themselves with their families. Then we arranged here some trips. The first one was to a museum, because there's one in here that says about Happy History. So we noticed that a lot of our families hadn't visited a museum because a lot of them thought museums weren't for children that were of that age. They were for children that were a bit older because things weren't, interactive in museums and the children would just get bored. So we wanted to show them that wasn't the case. So we arranged a trip to Hastings Museum. I went along to Hastings Museum and stood there, waited to see if anyone turned up to join me. And we actually had a really big turnout, which was really nice to see. And then the parents just come along, brought their children. It was all free entry. So we all went in, had a look around. There was lots of interactive things for them to look at and do. Ended up joining in with a singing group that was on there as well. It was really nice for the parents as well as the children to see each other outside of the nursery setting, and for the parents to meet each other outside the nursery setting as well. And a couple of the parents that we had there actually who have come down, we had one that had moved down from a different part of the country that didn't really know anybody, and she started talking to another one of our parents, and they ended up going off to the Fisherman's Museum, which is another free museum in Hastings, and then they've spent some time together since. So
children can choose what they want to do themselves by either using the cards, or we've got a big poster that we've got on an A-frame, and they really like having a look through and seeing what they'd like to take part in, and it fits in really nicely with the EYFS and things we're already doing in preschool anyway.
Going to the beach, we loved that. Jess was having so much fun putting her sand in the toes and in the water. We buried Daddy in the sand as well, which she absolutely loved. So all the way home we laughed about that, and then she was telling Granny and Pops the next day about burying Daddy. She loved making things with the stones on the beach as well, and she was writing her name out in the stones.
I think we're now on something like the 4th round or the 5th round of Next Step packs coming back. So we send our Next Step packs home every 6 weeks, and what the practitioners are then doing is in that 6-week time, if they've completed any of the things, they're ticking them off, sending the pack home, and then parents are ticking off what they've done. So what I was worried about was that it would be something that either parents would kind of get bored of doing, or a commitment would be lost along the way. But actually, parents are showing a real interest in their children completing this before they're 5 years old. And I feel really confident that this is something we've really embedded into our long-term plan, and that we will be successful in achieving it as well before the children start school.
And that they're using it without our input as well.
Yeah.
Which is nice. You know, a lot of them have downloaded the apps and used the take-home bags and things like that, so we know that they're using it without the trips that we do, in addition to the trips that we do with them.
Yeah, they're proud to share, aren't they, what they're doing. So
we've had a lot of photos, haven't we, in their learning journeys that have been brought in from parents of them doing nice things at home, which, you know, we didn't have a huge amount of before, but they really want to come in and share with us now what they do at home.
Yeah, absolutely. My husband is always looking for new things to do, and he's particularly loved doing baking with the children. That's one of the things that he's really picked up on, and the children just adore it. They have some really nice quality time together baking with Daddy. They've made bread, they've made cakes, and it's a lovely activity for them to do when it's wet outside, and of course we all benefit from it because we get to eat the bread. So in addition to that, he also, you know, he loves doing things like music, and one of the things that's on the app, it just reminds you that just simple things that you might be doing already, with just some slight changes, you can go from just having music on in the background to suddenly making it into a dance party, and suddenly it's a proper activity for the children to do, and he loves doing that with them.
a lot of it is that parents don't know what's on their doorsteps, and sometimes, or even working parents, you don't have that chance to explore things thoroughly on your doorstep. So we were opening those opportunities out for parents to show what's available, what's free particularly available, and that's another thing I like about the 50 Things project, is that they are generally free and accessible to everybody.
I think one of the things about the app is it does take really simple stuff that you might be doing already, but it just reminds you that actually if you just sort of stop what else you might be doing and sit with the child and just spend that time and focus your energy with them, you can see how much more they get out of it, and that it then becomes like a real learning and an activity rather than just a background thing that they're doing. So it's really good. And also just because it's so hard doing stuff that doesn't cost money all the time.
No, exactly,
it's really good, it's really useful.
I've noticed that since using the app and doing the activities, Hallie's more aware of her surroundings. Things that she sees, she'll point out, like different kinds of trees, different animals, different fish. She's a lot more aware of everything around her. She's got a lot more things to talk about. Just a normal walk through the park, she does a lot of talking and looks around her surroundings. Hello. Thanks.
I think it's confidence building at the moment, and we're still, early days in using the project, but we have been collecting summative data recently and seeing that the children are definitely in their PSED. There's definitely rises in confidence and risk taking, because we're doing more sort of risky, adventurous trips at home and within the setting. But we're hoping that, what we imagine is going to happen is that by the time the children have done the full year, that we will really see the impact at that point. And we're really looking at extending children's cultural capital.
And I think naturally things like speech and language, learning new vocabulary comes with different experiences. So they're achieving all these different experiences, seeing all these different things, different tastes, touches, textures, smells, things while they're out. And those things are going to automatically, new words are just going to come out from the parents and from the practitioners when we go on the trips that they wouldn't necessarily have heard before.
The trips have given us that real time to role model to parents as well. So when we're out in the woods, we've been introduced to a new language that not necessarily they might have heard before, and extending on sentences, things. So
when me and Hallie we're out and about, I take pictures of our activities, and then I upload them onto Facebook with which number of activities we've done that day and where we have done them. This then will support other families on knowing where we've managed to carry out them activities.
Even if they didn't want to put the children's photos onto Facebook, we recommended that they looked at it as it gave them good ideas as well on how to use the app. Using 50 Things app and linking it with Tapestry has made a big difference with communication for the children, because they are so eager to come and tell their friends what they're doing. We put it all on the whiteboard so they can come up, they can show their photos, they can talk. So we had quite a few very quiet, anxious children last year, and this really helped develop their confidence, because then they wanted to tell their friends about the bus ride they'd been on, about the stargazing, etc. that they've been doing, and they just wanted to tell them about it. So they used a lot of language, and they were much more confident in talking in front of the class, where before they might not have done that.
I think one of the really memorable moments was the puddle jumping, which
Yeah, we love puddle jumping.
it was really, really a lovely experience to get the children
favourite.
really dirty, and they loved it. And Hallie spoke about it this morning, and she was really excited. And it was really nice that Mum didn't mind Hallie getting really dirty.
And she was really, really dirty, but Hallie loved it.
But we've done really nice activities as well that we've done at Forest School, and been able to share that with Mum, and then you've done it at home and shared it back. So it's nice to have that partnership between.
And like
The
when
two
you
of
plant
us.
the seeds at school, and then we continue to grow the plants at home, which is really nice. So
Yeah.
they started at preschool, and then we finish at home, and then be able to share the end result between each other.
And actually that's come across quite a few families that we've gone back and had a look through what people have shared. And there's a lot of planting and growing food, and that's been quite a popular activity.
Yeah, Hallie grew cress, and that went in Dad's sandwiches for lunch. So she was very pleased with that one.
I was showing a parent the other day about how you can add your memories to that, and that's been a real sell for parents as well. It's like if they've not really felt that signed into using the 50 Things, but if they can start tagging photos, a lot of parents like to do that, don't they? Especially if you're reluctant to put photos on social media, there's a way of kind of storing your photos so that you can say, actually, all the times that we've done bubbles will be all together in photo, which I think is really nice.
That's the other thing that makes me laugh from the app actually, is the one where it's about being quiet and being noisy. Jessica, my youngest, loves when we go to Waitrose in the car park. It's really echoey underneath.
Oh yeah.
She loves it, just doing, shouting, you go echo, echo. I mean, it drives me mad, but she loves it. And actually it's really good for her to start learning about those different environments and the way sounds work. So yeah, it's really interesting.
What's your favourite thing to do? What's your favourite thing? Is it this one?
No.
No? Which one? At the beach?
No.
Huh?
That one.
That one, dressing up.
Oh, we've been doing that a lot, haven't we, this week? Because they're really interested in different occupations. So we've been doing lots of dressing up, and particularly a dentist.
Yep.
Because Hallie's just visited the dentist, so we've been doing dentist role play today.
Yeah, we brushed teeth.
You brushed your teeth?
And your teeth.
And my teeth.
My children loved going on the bus. Which is so funny because it's such a simple thing that I would never have thought actually as an activity to go on the bus to do something locally, but they loved it, and we just hopped on a local bus and we went down to the town gallery, which again wasn't somewhere I'd considered taking the children before because I'd always thought it was more of a place for grown-ups, but actually they had some fantastic children's activities going on, and it was really welcoming, and we had a great time. And we all loved it and had a brilliant day out together.
That Mum could have done with the map maybe. We had a little map drawn this morning by one of the little boys that's come to preschool, and it was his way of finding our way into the woods, and he described it all to one of the adults and giving really meaningful information and linking it to the environment. So we've got some really lovely mark making.
It's also really helped improve communication and relationships between us and the parents, especially using Tapestry as well, because the parents are then sending us the photos, I then send a comment, and then I'll comment as well once the children have talked about it at school. And the parents have been really eager to come and tell us what they've been doing, because they've enjoyed it. And I think for some parents who find it difficult to think of different things to do, this has really boosted their confidence. So then they've been really eager to come back and feed that what they've been doing back to us at school. And it's definitely made a big difference with links between us and really improved them.
We've always had a good relationship with the setting, but I think since doing 50 Things we've shared a lot of ideas. I've given them ideas and they've given me and Hallie ideas on things that we can do.
I've loved using 50 Things, yeah, it's brought me a bit closer to Jess, I think. We've spent a lot more time together, and she's had a great time spending more time with Mummy and Daddy as well.
Yeah,
it's always fun and it's easy.
Yeah, very easy to do. Me and Hallie, we've made lots of memories and we've laughed a lot and we speak a lot about them. So
yeah. But I think because most of the activities are quite accessible and they're not tricky, you know, you can make them just part of your normal routine, and yeah, it's easy.
Anything else you'd like to say before I switch everything off?
I don't know, can you think of anything?